This is a great question. I have made videos on this before. Hello, I'm a year-round resident living on Mackinac Island, and a lot of people want to know how in the world do people live here year-round to be able to afford to live on Mackinac Island. So I first of all just want to say, like, isn't my fork cute? This is totally irrelevant. Got this for Christmas, and I'm excited. I love little spoons and forks. Anyways, so I am on my lunch break. I live here year round. I work a remote job. Not everybody on the island works a remote job. There are under 600 residents. The 2020 census says there's 583 year-round residents on Mackinac Island, 204 households. Most of those people are not retired. Most of those people are working households. I think of the 204 households, there were 75 of like retirement age, but I know people in their 60s, 65 who are still working, so they're not retired. So though they're of retirement age, they're not retired, which is just my point in saying that most people do work. So let's talk about it. How do people afford to live here? Well, if you look at the $1 million homes, $1 million being the cheapest ones, millions of dollars homes, most of those homes are summer cottages where wealthy people come, they buy, they enjoy the summer. Awesome. A lot of those houses are passed down, they're generational wealth. It's a whole thing. Most people who live here year round live in normal houses. I say normal with one quotation mark because the home I live in was built in 1822. It is in a historical district. I'm like part of the island, so like normal probably isn't normal, but we have normal neighborhoods that aren't in the historic district on the island. There are multiple different residential neighborhoods that the homes would be more expensive here than off island, but they're not like at the $2, $3, $4, $5, $6 million price range that you do see online when you look at real estate on Mackinac Island. They are harder to come by. So if you want to be a resident on Mackinac Island, you usually have to do it in phases and steps to be able to make the right connections and have the timing be right to be able to snatch up one of the houses that are under $1 million. I would say the average cost of a home on Mackinac Island is around $500,000, $600,000, which still is a lot, but that's the average. That's including the $1 million houses as well. It is possible to get homes for around $400,000, $500,000. They're just harder to come by. You can also buy a lot and build. It's a long process and it is more expensive than building on the mainland because of getting things over. So that's difficult for home ownership. And then there's residential rentals. In order to qualify for a residential rental, you have to prove that you work here year round. So complicated, not impossible. Most people who become residents who weren't born on the island or have families that live on the island will come as a seasonal worker, which seasonal housing is provided by most employers, and that can turn into a year-round position. If you work for carriage tours, you can live here year-round. There are year-round positions, and they're always wanting more people to work year-round for carriage tours. That's with the horses. They do more than just tours. They're also in charge of the garbage pickup and taxi services and deliveries. So a year-round job is possible with carriage tours with housing. Now, your question, I don't have my reading glasses on, is like, what do most people do for work? So we do have a seasonal year. Some people will work the season and then just live off of that money that they make for the rest of the year. But most people have jobs. So we have a school that employs teachers and like everything that it takes to run a school. So the school is a big employer on the island year round. We have a city. So there are year-round city jobs. We have police jobs. There are firefighter jobs. The firefighters are a, what is it called? Volunteer firefighter, meaning that they probably do have a few on-staff firefighters, but most are like, they've done the training and it is more of a volunteer basis, which does include pay and stuff, but I'm not part of the firefighter world, so I don't understand how that works. We have a medical clinic. We have an emergency department, which is a year-round. We have a grocery store that's year-round. We have a state park That is a year-round park with employees. We have the freight dock, we have the ferries, we have an airport, we have a water treatment plant, we have a garbage dump. All those require year-round employment. Electric companies, there's construction year-round on the island. There are actually a lot of year-round jobs. You just need to know about them, and the best way to know about them is to come work a season, get to know people, ask the questions, get the connections. We also have 2 restaurants that are open year-round. We have a library that's open year-round, and I'm probably forgetting things, but we are a fully functioning city that also has a tourist season. So yes, there are year-round jobs. There are people who commute every day off island, or like Monday through Friday off island, to go to work on the mainland, who work in St. Ignace. There are people like me who have remote jobs. There are people who work for hotels year-round, even though the hotels are not closed. Their job is still a year-round job because there's hiring, there's projects that happen, there's planning, you're still taking reservations. The business is still open to receive things for the next season, in preparation for the next season, and we just currently don't have any patrons on the island for those things. So there's actually a lot of employment year-round here on the island. The trick is getting to know what those opportunities are. Cost of living really depends on your lifestyle. Of course, you could live an extravagant lifestyle and spend lots and lots of money. The mean income for a household on Mackinac Island is $100,000. So for the household, so that two people working, average income is $100,000 according to the 2020 census. Most people are in that $50,000 to $75,000 range for household income. So Mackinac Island can be affordable to most people if you have a place to live. That's the key, which I talked about that earlier. So like electricity isn't more expensive, in my opinion, than when I lived on the mainland. I used to own a house mid-Michigan on 20 acres, and we had electric heat. It was this 2,600 square foot, 4-bedroom, 3 full bathroom house. It was this gorgeous house. We also had a couple outbuildings, and our electricity, our heat was electrical, and our bills would be like $1,000 a month in the wintertime to heat and maintain that. And that was a lot. We have electric heat here. I think the most expensive bill I had in the winter with electric heat was under $500. So for me, I'm like, oh my gosh, it's so much cheaper. Water is pretty typical. Water is not crazy. While we have water and sewer, like city water and sewer on the island, I would say you're going to spend a lot less in gas because you don't drive your car very often because it's on the mainland. So like our gas went way down. Let's see, garbage would be more expensive in my opinion because you pay per bag. For trash removal, it's $4.50 for a big black construction type garbage bag that's labeled for the city. If you don't want to pay $4.50 a bag, you can fill a cart up and bike it to the dump, and a cart full of garbage is $10. So you could do it that way. I live further from the dump than I have in previous years, so we pay $4.50 a bag and put it at the curb, and it gets picked up once a week. We have free recycling, free cardboard pickup, so that helps with the cost as well. Groceries, in my opinion, are pretty typical to off-island prices. I shop primarily at Dowd's, which is the oldest grocery store in America, and then I do a lot of online shopping for like non-perishable things, like from Amazon. So it is really doable. If you're good with the budget and planning, then living on Mackinac Island is a very attainable dream.